It's the kind of offseason that leaves fans on edge. After suffering through a brutal 3-14 season in 2024, the Cleveland Browns were expected to flip the script, bring in a wave of new talent, reignite hope, and give fans something solid to rally behind. But as training camp approaches, there's a simmering tension in the Dawg Pound, because the biggest story in Berea isn't about who will shine, but who will survive. Now, come with me and I'll tell you all about it. Hit the like button, and let's get to the news. The Browns didn't just tweak their quarterback room this offseason, they detonated it. In a move that feels more like desperation than design, Cleveland has added not one, not two, but 4 new quarterbacks to the mix. The idea? Flip every stone, test every arm, and see if anyone can finally draw a line under the Deshaun Watson era, a saga that's left fans feeling more betrayed than blessed. The list of competitors is nothing short of wild. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. It's a blend of proven grit and proven potential and franchise-level stakes. But here's the twist. Despite all the buzz around youth and upside, Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox is already calling out one of them as a potential biggest bust of the entire 2025 NFL season. And he didn't aim low. He pointed directly at Joe Flacco. Yes, that Joe Flacco. The 40-year-old who turned Cleveland into believers for a brief 5-game miracle run in 2023, going 4-1 and dragging a battered team into the playoffs. But now, according to Knox, Flacco fever might be a thing of the past. He writes, any fans hoping to see a repeat of Flacco fever are going to be disheartened, assuming Flacco even beats out the other 3 quarterbacks. He's not joining a roster that is a QB away from postseason contention. Let that sink in. Even if Flacco wins the job, Knox argues it won't matter. The defense, once elite, has regressed. The supporting cast is in flux. And expecting a 40-year-old to carry the load through 17 games? That's a fairy tale Cleveland can't afford to keep chasing. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Todd Haley, former NFL head coach and current SiriusXM analyst, sees it differently. He's convinced Flacco is still the frontrunner, even with the new blood breathing down his neck. Joe Flacco is the guy. I would be shocked if it was anybody else starting the season, Haley declared. Still, even he acknowledges the writing on the wall. He says the building is buzzing with hope, not for Flacco, but for what could be in Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, or even Kenny Pickett. If one of them shows they're the answer, Cleveland might finally find clarity at the most unstable position in franchise history. That's the drama unfolding in real time at Browns training camp. And it doesn't stop at quarterback. Take a look at the receiver room, an equally tangled web of promise and peril. Deontay Johnson headlines the conversation with a backstory that reads like a cautionary tale. Once an 85-catch, 900-yard threat in Pittsburgh, Johnson's 2024 season turned into a soap opera. Traded to Carolina. Benched. Traded to Baltimore. Suspended. Waived. Claimed. Waived again. Now, he's in Cleveland on a minimum deal, clinging to a last shot. And if his mindset isn't right, he won't even make it to week 1. But there's a wild card in all of this, Jamari Thrash. A 5th-round pick in 2024 who barely saw the field last season, Thrash has inexplicably surged to the top of early fan polls for the number 3 receiver role. It's shocking, considering his college career was plagued with drops and he only managed 3 catches last season. Yet, in a room full of uncertainty, even a glimpse of explosiveness can catch fire. His chances? Around 70%, but nothing is guaranteed beyond the top 2 spots. And don't forget DeAndre Carter. At 32, he's the definition of a journeyman, but his value may lie in the new kickoff rules, where he averaged a staggering 31.9 yards per return last year with the Bears. His experience as a punt returner could be the edge he needs to secure a roster spot, especially as special teams continue to be an unsolved riddle for Cleveland. Then there's Caden Davis, the long shot. After bouncing around multiple practice squads, he finally saw action in Cleveland's season finale last year and showed a flash of return talent. But can a flash turn into a full-time job? That's the uphill battle he's facing in camp. All of these storylines, the quarterback carousel, the volatile wide receiver competition, the special teams reshuffle, point to one massive, looming question. What does success look like for the 2025 Cleveland Browns? Is it a winning season? A playoff berth? Or just figuring out who the future belongs to? We want to hear from you. Is Joe Flacco the bridge this team needs, or a nostalgic crutch we're holding onto for too long? Can Deontay Johnson really bounce back, or is his past too chaotic to overcome? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think should be the Browns starting QB in Week 1? Because here's the thing, Browns fans, it's not just about who lines up under center in Week 1. It's about what that decision says about the franchise. If Joe Flacco is your starter, it's a clear sign that Cleveland is punting the future for the sake of stability. And maybe that's fine if the goal is to stay afloat. But if you're hoping to build something real, something sustainable, you have to start looking at this QB competition through a different lens. Let's talk Kenny Pickett. The Browns didn't trade a fifth-round pick just to let him rot on the bench. He's only 26, a former first-rounder, and while he struggled with consistency in Pittsburgh, he also showed flashes of mobility and clutch throws that hint at untapped potential. If this coaching staff can simplify the game for him and sharpen his reads, there's a path, albeit a narrow one, where Pickett could claim this job and surprise a lot of people. Then you've got Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, the two rookies who represent the long play. Sanders, in particular, carries intrigue. He's the kind of QB who thrives under pressure, isn't afraid to take risks, and has the swagger this fan base hasn't seen since the Bernie Kosar days. He's raw, sure. But if he flashes in preseason, how do you keep him off the field? Gabriel is a bit more of an enigma, accurate, poised, but lacking the cannon arm that gets scouts drooling. Still, he's a gamer. And if the veterans falter early, you could see Cleveland throw him into the fire to see what they've really got. But all of this QB drama overshadows a bigger problem, roster construction. Carrying 5 quarterbacks into the regular season is borderline impossible. So cuts are coming. Maybe a trade. Maybe a surprise release. And how those decisions shake out could alter the direction of this franchise for the next 5 years. At wide receiver, there's another hard truth. Behind Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, it's chaos. If Johnson doesn't have his head on straight, if Thrash doesn't clean up his hands, and if Carter and Davis don't show up in special teams, we're looking at a depth chart that could unravel quickly once the season hits. The top 3 WRs matter, but so do the role players, especially when the QB situation is so uncertain. So here we are, 2 weeks from training camp, and nothing is settled. But maybe that's the point. Maybe this year isn't about certainty. Maybe it's about creating a crucible, throwing these players into the fire, and seeing who rises. Because if this team is going to claw its way out of the basement, it won't be because of one name. It'll be because someone, anyone, steps up and takes control. Let's get this discussion going. Which quarterback gives the Browns the best shot this year? And who do you think is the future of the franchise? Hit the comments now. Your take could be the spark for the next great Browns debate.